On November 23, 2008, 10 men in open waters intercepted an Indian fishing boat named the Kuber. They hijacked the vessel, eliminated 4 crew members, and kept the captain alive only long enough to navigate towards specific coordinates using a preset 5-team assault plan. The attackers were operating with precise intent, but they were entering a massive security vacuum. In the months leading up to the attack, intelligence agencies had received, and ultimately failed to act on, multiple warnings specifically describing a maritime threat to the Mumbai coast. The 60 hours of terror that would follow were the result of a 7-year foundation. This wasn't a localized cell acting on impulse. It was an operation built on invisible, corporate-style planning that stayed beneath the radar of traditional surveillance for years. This meant that while the state's bureaucracy was focused on internal politics and land borders, a terror cell had outmanaged the nation's defense by identifying and exploiting a single, unguarded logistical gap, the sea. The intelligence for the mission was gathered by Dawood Gilani. To move freely between borders, he legally changed his name to David Coleman Headley, utilizing a U.S. passport and an American appearance to move through security checkpoints without a second glance. Headley used a friend's visa consultancy, First World Immigration Services, to open a branch office in Mumbai. This corporate front allowed him to travel to India multiple times between 2006 and 2008, establishing a legitimate business reason for every visit. During these trips, Headley conducted an exhaustive survey of the city. He filmed the Taj and Oberoi hotels, analyzed police patrol patterns, and identified Badwar Park as the ideal landing zone, because the sloping shoreline allowed for a quick exit into a high-traffic taxi area. Lashkar-e-Taiba handlers converted Headley's raw data into high-resolution 3D presentations. They used Google Earth and GPS coordinates to brief the strike teams, ensuring every man knew the exact distance from the water to their first target. By integrating modern corporate logistics with open-source geography tools, the cell neutralized the city's natural defenses. They had mapped every blind corner and security gate before a single recruit ever left Pakistan. The execution of this plan required a specific kind of operative. Lashkar-e-Taiba ran these recruits through a specialized 4-phase pipeline: religious indoctrination, physical conditioning, advanced mountain combat, and finally, marine training to prepare for the landing at Mumbai. This funnel was designed to eliminate anyone who lacked total discipline. Out of 32 initial recruits, only 10 men, led by a commander named Ismail, made the final cut for the Mumbai mission. At 9 p.m. on November 26th, those 10 men landed at Badwar Park. They immediately split into their 5 2-man buddy pairs, moving toward their targets with the speed of a rehearsed paramilitary unit. At CST Station, the pair consisting of Ismail and Kasab launched their assault. Witnesses reported that Kasab appeared entirely relaxed, firing into the crowds and throwing grenades with the rehearsed detachment of someone playing a video game. The attackers were following a pre-programmed blueprint. While the local police were still trying to identify the threat, the 10 men were already deep into a coordinated tactical strike that targeted 5 high-occupancy locations simultaneously. As fire spread at the Taj Hotel, 4 attackers established a command center in room 520. They used the room as a tactical high ground, maintaining constant communication with their handlers in Pakistan via satellite phones. Handlers in Pakistan monitored live international news broadcasts to track the movements of the police outside. This real-time information was quickly relayed back to the shooters, warning them whenever security forces began moving toward the entrances. While the shooters held their positions, the handlers used Google to run background checks on the names found on hostage identification cards. They were actively searching for corporate executives or diplomats who could be used as high-value geopolitical bargaining chips. This flow of data was used to ambush anyone who tried to intervene. Handlers guided the shooters through the hotel's hallways, using Headley's reconnaissance to help them evade police and find new groups of victims hiding in the kitchens and basements. The attackers possessed a more accurate real-time view of the environment than the local authorities. Despite being in a foreign city, their access to live data and building layouts gave them a level of situational awareness that the defenders simply could not match. The local Mumbai police were equipped with standard bolt-action rifles and vintage revolvers. They were completely outgunned by the attackers' automatic weapons and grenades, leading to the deaths of the city's most senior tactical officers, including Hemant Parkeri. In a rare moment where localized bravery overcame the tactical gap, Assistant Sub-Inspector Tukaram Omble managed to capture Kasab. Omble took a fatal burst of gunfire to pull the attacker from a vehicle, providing the state with its only surviving source of information. Despite this individual success, the national response was paralyzed. The elite NSG commandos were requested only 3 hours into the siege, but it would take nearly 8 hours before they finally touched down at Mumbai's airport. The delay was purely logistical. The primary transport plane was hundreds of miles away in Chandigarh. The backup plane at Palam Airport was too small to carry the full 360-man unit, forcing a series of secondary delays as the team was scaled down to fit. The state's elite counterterrorism unit was grounded by basic transportation failures. This bureaucratic friction created a window of several hours where the attackers were left to continue their assault without facing an equivalent tactical force. When the NSG commandos finally reached the hotels, the attackers had been in control of the buildings for half a day. The elite units arrived into a situation that had already spiraled out of control. The commandos faced an immediate tactical hurdle. They had no blueprints for the hotels and no access to the internal CCTV feeds. They were forced to begin room-to-room clearing operations without knowing what was behind a single door. This meant the defenders were fighting blind in their own city. The terrorists, meanwhile, utilized their years of reconnaissance and real-time handler support to move between floors and avoid the commandos' advancement. The logistical failures extended the siege to 60 hours. By the time the last hotel was secured, 176 people were dead and over 300 were injured. The 26/11 attacks revealed a fundamental shift in modern conflict. The siege showed that even a powerful state remains vulnerable if its security relies only on physical force, while its opponents exploit the logistical speed and open-source data of the modern world.